All right, we've just gone live. Welcome everybody to Global Education's virtual Expo. We've got an exciting presentation for you today and a discussion about St. Louis University in the United States. We're going to give it a couple minutes for people to sort of sign on, and then I'm going to hand over to our presenter here and I'll introduce him. And I think it's a huge opportunity for you in Southern Africa to hear directly from this institution, to find out all the different pathways and programs, and also a little bit what it's really like there as well. I think that's the most important thing for us in this presentation is what are you really going to experience at St. Louis University? We'll give it just a couple of minutes. We've got, I think we've had about 72 people sign up. So we'll give it a couple minutes and then get many people to join in, and then we'll start from there. All right, everybody, I think it's time. I'm very excited for this one. So today we've got Mr. Ryan Saale with us. He's the Associate Director of Marketing and Recruitment at St. Louis University. Ryan, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for joining today or your evening. It's kind of morning still here in the US. My name is Ryan. I'm the Assistant Director of Marketing and Recruitment at St. Louis University. Really excited to share with you a lot of great information about our university, but more kind of what is it like to study at SLU? What is it like to be in the US? And also we do have some exceptional opportunities at our campus in Europe. But I always like to, before I begin, kind of let you know a little bit more about me, because like all of you, I was an international student. I know what you and your families, all the big questions and big decisions that you're thinking about. I did my undergraduate work in Latin America, so a little bit closer to home than South Africa to the US, but still, you know, being in a different country, being away from home, it's exciting to think about. I know there's some points where you can maybe feel a little bit nervous, and that's what we're here for, to help kind of guide you and advise you on the programs, the admissions, but also just the life. What is it like? What do you have to look forward to, work opportunities and all of that. So that's kind of a nice way to start everything, but really big picture about my university, St. Louis University. We are a very historic, prestigious institution in the United States. As well, we do have a campus in Europe, which I'll talk a little bit about later. If you know your US geography, if you've ever heard of the biggest river that we have in the United States, the Mississippi River, which is right in the middle of America, our university was actually the very first university founded west of the Mississippi over 200 years ago. So students who come to SLU are really engaging with an institution with a really rich academic and research history. The environment here is very collaborative, research focused. We are also very well known for our sense of community. And throughout the presentation, I'll talk about community in a couple different aspects. Number one, just our on-campus community, the sense of belonging, being with your faculty, being with the other students, but also our focus on community service and why that's so important to us. We're a private Catholic Jesuit institution. So if you have graduated from a Catholic high school or a Jesuit high school, there's some great opportunities that I'll talk a little bit about later. If you're not Catholic or Jesuit, don't worry, you can come to SLU. We won't make you go to church, we won't make you Catholic, but it's part of our educational legacy. As well, a very diverse environment. We recruit students from many, many different countries, including South Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa as well. So you'll be joining a very diverse community on our campus. Lastly, we're located in a larger US city. So St. Louis, Missouri has about 3 million people. Really nice balance. You have access to larger city, lower cost of living. Throughout the presentation, I'll talk more about the location, kind of employability, some aspects of finding jobs and preparation, as well as some of our key programs. I had mentioned very historic institution. We are also the very first federally certified school of aviation in America. So So if there are any students who are interested in becoming a pilot, aerospace engineering, if you think, wow, NASA, that's really cool, SpaceX, SLU is a great institution for you. We have a long history in those very unique areas. And a little bit about our Catholic and Jesuit tradition. You know, we really work on developing the whole person. This is something that a lot of universities don't really push, but it's something very critical to the Jesuit education model. It's not only the mind, body, and spirit, but it's really this kind of development of leadership skills. So you're getting this kind of added value benefit beyond the classroom of really developing those skills that will serve you in your career and in your life. I don't like to really talk about rankings too much, but just so that you know, we are a very highly ranked institution in the United States. We're in the top 4% of all American institutions at 103, all the highest level of accreditations. Here you can see a lot of our individual program rankings. I won't go through all of them, but just know we're very strong in business, law, engineering, health and human services, and medical. So those are some of the key strengths. So quickly, just to talk about some of the very key areas from academically, and then we'll talk about kind of the life at SLU. Business is probably our premier area. We're an elite business school with a lot of different options, including some very notable things, including STEM. So if you're studying in a science, technology, engineering, math program, you're allowed to stay in the US longer after graduation for a work experience. We're very unusual in that we have some business programs that qualify. Whether you're an undergrad or graduate student, some excellent kind of ways to prepare for your employment. If you're a graduate student, we do have a lot of waivers for GRE and GMAT. So it's some great kind of admissions accessibility options, so you don't have to worry about taking those. We're very well known for international business, finance, and supply chain management in the US. So those are some key areas. Just to show you how elite our business school is, you can see we have programs that rank higher than schools like Yale, Stanford, American, Cornell. This is truly access to a very highly ranked and well-known business school. And we do offer pathway and direct entry, so some flexibility for admission. The other key area is engineering. We have a lot of engineering disciplines, but the ones that we are most known for would be biomedical engineering, because we do have a school of medicine. As I mentioned earlier, piloting and aerospace engineering. Fun fact, every mission NASA has taken to space has had at least one alum from SLU associated with that mission. So anything related to space, come to SLU. Really quickly, we do have a school of law. As well, we do have a school of medicine. If you are a student who's thinking about doing medical studies abroad, very few universities in America will accept international students to med school. St. Louis University will allow international students in our medical school, but they need to start with the pre-med first. So lots of opportunities in health and human services, everything from medical to public health, neuroscience. So if you love helping people, if you love science, anatomy, SLU is a really great option. Lastly, I mentioned STEM. We have a lot of STEM programs. So if you're really thinking about doing your OPT, so after graduation, we have over 40 different programs that qualify for STEM. So that's a great way to get some additional work experience. At the beginning, at the top, I was talking about research. We have a lot of funding for research. So if you're going into grad school and really want to be involved in research, excellent options there, as well as a lot of hands-on learning. So I think one of the benefits of coming to the US, and specifically a highly ranked, very prestigious institution, is you're going to have access to really high-level laboratories. You're going to have access to things in the field that you're studying that are at the most advanced level. And that's what we offer at our campus in St. Louis. So we were talking a little bit earlier about what is it like to be at SLU in St. Louis. Where are we? So St. Louis University is located in the city of St. Louis, about 3 million people. And I always like to talk about the balance. You're investing in your education abroad. We don't want your lifestyle to be hindered by cost of living. Obviously, you need to support yourself, but St. Louis is a larger city, but has a lot of great access to free things to do, free arts, free culture, lots of free festivals. So this is a really student-friendly city. We have over 30 colleges and universities in the St. Louis metropolitan area. So you can have access to lots of great things. get on a plane and go to New York, go to Miami. It's only 2 hours away, but live here and spend less money. So that's kind of a really great opportunity. And that's something you have to factor in addition to tuition costs. I think that's really important. Briefly, I'll talk about just some really cool, unique opportunities for employability. Why are you going to university? Well, everybody wants to have a great time. They want to study, but you want to get a job. And at SLU, we are one of 28 Jesuit universities in America. When you come to SLU, you have access to all of our career centers, but our entire network of 28 universities in the US. So you actually have 28 universities that will help you finding a job, attending job fairs. So it's a really great network of support. As well, our location is really great for some really key industries. So when we're looking at logistics, banking, finance, anything in healthcare, if you're going into those kind of fields of study, that's what we do really well here in our location. You know, if you want to be a movie maker, okay, you could come to SLU, but you would probably go to New York or Los Angeles because that's where that industry is. But what we have here in St. Louis are these kind of really interesting kind of tech and logistic areas. Notably, last year we were ranked the #1 best city to launch a career in America by LinkedIn, and they know a few things about people finding jobs. This is the blend of having large companies headquartered here, but a lower cost of living. So great place to start your career. Lastly, very global city. If you are familiar with Fortune magazine, they do rank the largest multinational companies based in the US. We actually have 14 that are headquartered right here in our city. So you have opportunities to work not only in the US, but on a global scale with companies that are connected all throughout the world, and more likely than not in Africa and South Africa as well. So some really great opportunities. So when you're thinking about a university, it's also those connections. What's the surrounding area like? What's the livability? This all makes SLU a really comprehensive package for students who are academically prepared, want to have a great time, but also really want to have strong outcomes. And that's what we offer. A couple of our really interesting international students who have gone on to do some really great things. Fernando did aerospace engineering. He now works at NASA. We have some international students who obviously are pilots now. Ting from Hong Kong flies this huge 747 for Cathay Pacific. And then some of our other kind of high-level alumni that have come out of the business school, political science, that have gone on to do some great things. Lastly, life at SLU. You know, when you think about American university campuses, don't think about the movies. They make every university look like some big party school. Yes, students have fun when they come to university, but at SLU, we are more academically focused. Our students get involved. They do a lot of community service. Being an older institution, our campus actually feels like a college campus in a college town in the middle of a city because the city grew around it. So it's very safe, secure, green, great access to public transportation, our local subway system, as well as on-campus housing. We do require students to live on campus the first 2 years. This is how students get connected. They get connected with the other students, they study together, they have a really robust lifestyle. You know, when you live off campus as a freshman, which we don't allow, you're kind of disconnected. So we want to make sure that you're, as an international student, you have friends, you know, you're coming from environments where family is so important, and we kind of create that to the best that we can for you to make sure that you're safe and secure. Lots of great on-campus dining options. We're in a city, so you have lots of off-campus as well. And lastly, lots of sports. If you like football, so what we call soccer, we're really famous for men's soccer as well as basketball. We are a Division I school, so we have athletic scholarships as well. A couple of photos of our campus, again, very historic, very beautiful. Our city was founded by the French, so a lot of our city is kind of laid out a little bit more of a European style. Lots of engagement and activities for student life. Community service, again, is really big. We're actually ranked #2 in the United States for community service. So that's a great way to build your resume. Great way to show a future employer, hey, I've developed leadership skills. Look what I did in college. That's something that we offer and are famous for. As well, lots of great on-campus recreation. Here in St. Louis, we're also really fortunate that, you know, we have some really beautiful surroundings outside the city. Hiking. I actually just went skiing. Now it's not Colorado skiing, but we have ski areas, we have wineries, we have hiking, rivers. So, when you want to get out of the city, there's some really cool stuff to do. I live right next to the biggest park in the city. I go and run every day. There's a free zoo, a free art museum. So I don't like to spend money, and a lot of students don't either. And living here, you can actually do things and not spend any money. Now, if you go to the mall, you have to spend money. Unfortunately, the mall is not free. And lastly, I won't go over all the entry requirements. I mean, we'll kind of get into this a little bit later, and that's why we have our team at Global Ed to help you all. But we have some really great flexibility options at the undergrad and grad level through what we call our pathway programs. And just to give you kind of a quick idea, obviously this would be on our kind of system of GPA, but we have flexibility with your academic background, so your notes from high school, as well as your language scores. So we really have a level for many different entry points. We are test optional, for GRE and GMAT for many grad programs, and for undergrad, we are test optional for SAT and ACT. So I encourage students, if SLU is a great fit for you, don't be scared by the admissions process. We will work with you to kind of get you placed in the right level for you. As well, we have some really great scholarship opportunities, both at the undergrad and grad level. At the undergraduate level, students from the African region, we do have an automatic scholarship of $15,000 per year. So that really helps with that tuition, because it's part of our encouragement to build diversity on our campus. Additionally, if you are graduating from a Catholic or a Jesuit high school, we can give even an additional amount of $4,000 to $5,000 per year. So, if you're coming out of a Catholic or Jesuit high school, you're kind of looking at automatically a 50% scholarship. So some really great ways to fund your education. And for those grad students, we do have a very affordable graduate tuition. Many of our programs are 30 credit hours. You can finish in a year and a half. And get in and out under 40,000 for the entire degree. So while it is an investment, we do really work to make sure that it is accessible and can be as affordable as possible, so that we can get students on to graduation and employed. And I think I'll kind of end right here. Couple kind of really great highlights. We're a very prestigious institution, so a degree from SLU will be notable. We're very highly ranked. Excellent location. I had talked a lot about our location here in St. Louis, affordability, livability. We also have a campus in Madrid. So if you want to kind of be in the same time zone, or you're thinking Europe, but you like US style education, we do have our campus in Madrid, Spain. It's mostly for undergrad students, but that could be an interesting opportunity. Unique and notable degree programs, very famous for business, engineering, medical, lots in the STEM area, and affordability with those scholarships. So I don't want to go over every little detail and nook and cranny. I definitely want to open this up so that we can make this more of a dialogue for any questions that you all may have. Hopefully this kind of gives an overall impression of the type of institution. I think if you're going to remember anything about SLU, I think community is the #1 thing to remember. When students come to SLU, because we're a medium-sized institution with small classes, they really are truly joining a community. It's big enough to feel big, but it's not so small that you feel like, okay, I know everyone. So you have a great opportunity to really meet other students. You'll know your faculty. Most classes have about 20 students in it. So you won't be a number, you won't get lost, but it is academically rigorous. So I think community is probably that key thing that we really do well with. So I don't know, George, do we want to open it up to questions, or was there any thing that you—
Yeah, no, Ryan, that was fantastic. I love the shot of the way the campus looked, this sort of map, and sort of seeing how when you said medium size, for us, it's huge. There's so much opportunity there and what you can walk around and see. What's one of your favorite places at St. Louis on the campus?
Oh, probably the gym, because it's right next to my office. It's a great place. I mean, I'm not a student anymore, but it's a great place. You see students interacting there outside of class, staying fit, active. Also in our library, you know, libraries are libraries, right? But our library, they actually, the first floor, about 2 years ago, the Student Government Association worked with the IT department to develop this really cool technology commons. And it's got all this really cool stuff that students have access to, free 3D printers, all these really cool laboratories. So I'm like, okay, when I was in college, libraries were just books. Our library is really advanced. So, you know, I think those are probably my two favorite. Obviously, I like Starbucks because I drink a lot of coffee, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, we won't talk about the coffee because we end up arguing for an hour in this conversation. So we'll skip the coffee convo. I've got a question from a student here, an anonymous attendee. So we'll call it the anonymous person. Do you have any courses in art? I don't think I saw.
we do. We have studio art at the undergrad level. So if you're in high school or you're looking at undergrad, we do. Studio art can go into kind of more of the traditional artistic practices, painting, drawing, ceramics, sculpture. Interestingly, SLU, we have a very extensive art collection on our campus. We have a huge art museum, which is the #4 university art museum in the United States. In addition to the St. Louis Art Museum, which is very close to campus, is completely free. I would say we're more on the traditional side. We do offer programming in like graphic design and kind of more media arts, but those would be concentrations within the degree rather than the full degree. Thinking arts like musical arts, we do also have that as well. So theater and instruments.
Yeah, no, great. Ryan, with this whole conversation about technology advancing, you know, things becoming more tech oriented, the pandemics happened as well, you know, looking at the sciences and business being so important now with this ever changing sort of world that we do live in. Has the university taken a forward thinking approach in what it offers in terms of employability? And when you mentioned support for students on that, could you go a little bit more into how SLU supports its students in finding jobs and, you know, looking at CVs and advisor help, something on those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first question about kind of looking at future careers, you know, SLU being in a larger city and deeply connected to large corporations. For example, we're highly funded by Boeing, as well as Emerson, which is a global technology company that is headquartered here. We work very closely with industry leaders on kind of what is the new trends, like what are they looking for? So this has now since probably been within the last 10 years, our business school created a program called Applied Financial Economics at the master's level. What is that, right? Well, if you're in finance, it's a really specific kind of future forecasting type of financial outlook. And because we have one of the central bank headquarters for the US here in St. Louis, our business school worked directly with them to create a program that would drive students into that type of field. So that's one example of a collaboration with industry. As well, in the last couple of years, we've launched a lot of really interesting programs in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, information systems, you know, more in this technology related area, because a lot of the big companies that are here are looking for people who have that advanced technology. I would say from the creation of the programs in collaboration with industries is one of like on the front end. On the back end, when we talk about careers and employability, we have an extensive career support office on campus. As well, within the business school has their own career center. They both are very aware and trained on how to work specifically with international student visas. So they're aware of what CPT and OPT, the regulations requirements, to help identify employers that are specifically looking for students that have, you know, this type of diverse background, this type of academic training. Specific activities throughout the year, we have job fairs. They may be program specific or more broad. So sometimes like the international business program will have a job fair just for those students because it's really matchmaking the student skills with what our employers are looking for. Being a very highly ranked institution, employers not only from the area but across the US are looking for our graduates. In addition to just kind of that matchmaking, it's the skills development from day one. When students start in our program, we are working with them to like, how do you make a LinkedIn profile? How do you start building your resume from day one? You know, you're not going to go work or do an internship your first year. Go and do community service. Do something related to what you study so that you can start building your CV, so that when you go to find an internship, you are really exceptional compared to some other students who maybe haven't done those experiences. So we really kind of start building that foundation from day one, because at the end of the day, our alumni are our best resource to show where they've gone on to, what they've done. Does that help?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just think of it from my own personal experience. And the reason why I sort of fell in love with the American sort of education system is that alumni function, you know, the networks, the support, getting businesses in front of students. It's something I wish I took more advantage of, you know, many years ago. So it's something I hope students who are listening in on this are taking some notes and pointers out, because that's some good information.
Yeah, you know, and another thing, I mean, this is more broadly in the US, but something we really encourage is the US system, especially at the undergrad, you know, allows flexibility. Maybe you start in a business program, but you take a class in psychology and say, oh, wow, I really like psychology. I didn't even think about that. You can change your major. You can do a double major, a major and a minor. So a lot of flexibility to really explore different areas. I know in a lot of countries, students kind of get stuck in the engineering, law, medical, and we've got all these other really cool, interesting, cutting edge programs that you may not realize until you get here. And that flexibility really gets students on the right path towards employability.
It's such a great point. I want to lead that into this next question. I think Kaylin Engelbrecht here asked, Kaylin, thank you very much for the question. Can you take multiple courses, or can you just take the ones that you want? I think to really answer this, I would love to hear your description of why the American system is very different to the rest of the world. And I think it leads on to those, you know, doing business, but taking psychology, you know, doing the arts while doing a science course.
Yeah, you know, and I was an international student in Mexico. And Latin America is in a way similar to many other countries around the world, where, you know, programs are typically pre-prescribed and there's less flexibility. You know, you start a degree, you either finish it or start over with a new one. The US system, specifically at the undergrad level, allows for flexibility. So there really are kind of three main components, not to get too far into the depth of this, but you've got general education, your program credits, and then you have kind of electives, things that you can choose. That area is where you can kind of explore things. So, you know, that we typically like students to be settled with their final degree by the end of the second year, so you don't extend the time to complete. But that first year you can explore, take a business class, take a psychology class, the things that interest you. You know, as an 18-year-old, you don't know maybe the path of your life. So that's, our system allows that flexibility. And I think that's what's really special. You can, you know, do a double major. For example, we see a lot of students who go into like computer engineering and they'll double major in entrepreneurship. You know what, you could be the next Elon Musk, you know, know technology, but know the business side of it. And that's what's really special, and why so many American graduates are going on to do really cool things, because they have this diversity, they have this kind of duality in their background. And it's not just, you know, in a lot of countries, all you do is study business and you're like really proficient in that, but we give a more well-rounded, you know, you're going to take your business courses, but you'll maybe take some psychology, some leadership, things that kind of surround and help you navigate through your life after you graduate. You know, I went to school for one thing, but I'm doing something totally different, but I was prepared because I had a very diverse background.
Yeah, no, great. You know, listening to you speak about that, and from, you know, speaking with students and listening to, you know, the unsurety of what to study, you know, a lot of times being an 18-year-old or 17 or 19-year-old and not knowing what you want to do for the rest of your life can be a daunting task. And I think the US and something like SLU, you know, can help you, guide you, and find out exactly what you like to do. And again,
I would say, you know, pick 5 or 10 things and look at a university that has courses in that, and then come and explore. I mean, you know, a lot of students who are, you know, 17, 18, 19, like they're freaking out, like, what am I going to be for the rest of life? Like, nobody knows. I'm almost 40. I don't even know, right? Like, I want to do something else. But you come and do that exploration, and I see students all the time. It's very common for a student to start one program but end up doing another because they went through that exploration process. How do you know when you're in high school? And if a student knows, I want to be a doctor, and that's what they do, great. But there are a lot of students who don't. So, if you're in that situation, you're not unique, and our system is designed to support that.
Yeah. I've got another question for you, Ryan. I think this one's also from another anonymous attendee. Where can I find the requirements to take a certain course?
Good question. Definitely, connect with Global Education. They are our representatives to support you through that. At the undergrad level, generally almost all of our 90-degree programs have the same requirements. The graduate level, and this is the same usually at most universities, each program may have differing requirements. So if you're looking at undergrad, we're really looking at your high school background, your language score. Obviously, if you're from South Africa, you're going to have the English level. So it's really going to be that academic background. At the grad level, depending on the program, you may be required to take a test. They may be looking specifically for an undergrad background in the same field. So your best resource, contact Global Ed, and they can kind of work with you and then get you connected and on the right path.
Yeah, definitely. I'll just add to that as well. And please, what I've done is I've sent the email address for you to contact through for that question. So please reach out to us, and we'll find exactly what's needed for you. Ryan, I wanted to ask you at the beginning of this conversation, and it's that negative word that we always hear now with the pandemic, and a lot of students are very wary of studying. Should they wait? Should they defer? And we kind of say, hey, it's changing every day. Speak with us, speak with the university directly, get you the right information. Can you show a little bit of what SLU did and the support for that as well, and anything that happened during the pandemic?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of to start, for students in their planning, because this is such an unusual time, I tell students, pick the universities you want to apply to. Apply, get the admission. You can, at least at St. Louis University, you can always defer it out. So get your path started. And then, if for whatever reason the intake you're looking at doesn't work, or you're not comfortable or whatever, you can defer to a future semester. I think it's always better to kind of keep that continuation of plans moving so that you're prepared for when, the world is ready for, or you're ready for the world. Specific to SLU, we are very, very fortunate as a university to be extremely well prepared because we have faculty, we have departments in key areas related to this. So number one, we have a School of Medicine and what we call here in the United States, a Trauma 1 hospital on our campus. Trauma 1 means our hospital can handle anything. They have every type of specialty. So it's the highest level hospital designation. That's our university hospital. Number two, we have a very highly regarded graduate program in public health. So we already have faculty members that are experts in their fields in epidemiology, global health. I mean, these are the things that they're teaching and studying and researching. And then lastly, we have the #1 health law program in America. All this to say that the leadership of our institution, the president, everybody, have internal resources, experts in these specific fields related to COVID, to pandemics, to help prepare our campus and our local community. So I think we were really fortunate to be extremely well prepared in that regard because of the comprehensive nature of our faculty. We were able to deliver a fully residential experience throughout all of 2020. So that means we had students living on campus in socially distanced dorms. We were able to provide testing. We did randomized testing on available. So our incident rate was really low. We did a lot of great work. But this goes back to the sense of community. The type of students that we recruit are students who they have leadership skills. They had a sense of, this is my community. And we tell them, this is the experience you want it to be. If you don't socially distance, if you don't do these things, you're online only. But the students really did a great job. So I think we were really fortunate. We also provided online courses as well. So if students weren't able to travel or get a visa, they could start online to start the degree so they don't lose time. So a lot of really cool options that we had available.
A question from the team who's got a student, one of our counselors in Zimbabwe has a student who's doing masters, has finished her undergrad honors in Cape Town in biotechnology, and she'd like to do a master's in biotech and business. Do you have something that recommends and sort of what she can sort of look for at SLU?
That one, so we don't have a master's in biotechnology. We have something kind of similar. It's a master's in science in bioinformatics and computational biology. Very related to biotech because St. Louis, I'm sure the student would know, the global company, which it now has since been bought out by Bayer, it was Monsanto, was headquartered here. St. Louis is a very large biotech city. But that's a little bit more in the kind of the data science of biotech. Dual degree programs, we do have some graduate programs that are dual degree with MBA, but typically that's like our law program and our School of Medicine. But I would encourage the counselor and the student to look at our bioinformatics program. That's a very interesting program that is available both through direct entry and pathway. So some flexibility on the entry requirements.
Great. I see the messages are flying in here on this. So we've got some counselors on the webinar sharing the screen through different students because of the load shedding in the region. Okay, I got a good one for you. NCAA Sports, level 1 division. What does that mean? And do you have a stadium for the soccer / football?
We do, yeah. Okay, so NCAA is the collegiate level of athletics. There's another division, I can't remember the acronym, but NCAA is the big one. Within NCAA, there are 3 divisions, 1, 2, and 3. If you're a Division I school, that is the most athletic, it's the most competitive athletic division. So it's the highest level. Students are competing athletically at the highest level. Division I and II can offer athletic scholarship. A Division III school is not allowed. So typically, if a student's looking to go to an NCAA school like SLU, they need to contact the coach directly. I can facilitate that conversation. Because I'm on the admissions side, I can have nothing to do with athletic recruitment because those scholarships have to be completely separated. But if you're looking at soccer, we have, we're one of the longest, oldest, and most winning soccer team for men in the US. We do have a stadium on campus as well. St. Louis, we have we are one of the new expansion teams for city soccer. So they're building a new stadium in downtown, which I think our team will be using as well. So soccer's big here.
In terms of the culture in St. Louis, the city itself, you mentioned in your presentation that it's got a lot of French history and sort of its infrastructure and buildings and that. What are the people like in St. Louis? And what would you recommend to a student that was coming to SLU to sort of look out for and support them?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the Midwest, so I think it's a little bit slower here. I mean, not like the South, but we're an interesting city because we traditionally have tendencies more of the East Coast, but livability of the Midwest. So I think, you'll find that people are very friendly here. It's kind of laid back. Like a lot of places in Africa, I think the pace of living here is nice for African students because it's like, okay, we'll get there when we get there. We'll take our time. People are willing to stop and talk to you. I think that kind of feeling is consistent with a lot of what our African students are used to. And yet it's still a bigger city, so you have access to things to do. It's not like you're in the middle of like a cow pasture or something. So I think, friendly people take their time with you. I think that's probably the nice thing of here. If you're a graduate student, we do have a lot of grad students who really love it here because some of them have their children with them, and we have really great public schools. We have really great neighborhoods that are distinct and beautiful. So I think that's kind of a nice advantage of being here.
Yeah, it's a lot of South Africans and Zimbabweans specifically that go into the Midwest. They sort of have that feeling like it is laid back. It's got that similarity. Till you mentioned the word just now, it's a big saying that all us South Africans say. We mean it now, but we'll get to it a little bit later. And it sort of fits the culture, but not the terminology. We were counseling some students recently, and they were talking about the US and sort of the visa. They were talking about visa issues and restrictions with travel and things like that. Do you have any insights into sort of visas in the future? Are things opening up? Is there a focus to bring in more international students? I think they're guessing towards like administration changes and US politics being in such a media focus in our region.
Yeah. If I knew the answer to that, I would be a very wealthy or important person. What I can say is, as you all, I'm sure, are aware, we have had a huge change in administration, which I think has been welcomed by much of the world. I mean, I think it's kind of like, okay, the US is back, right? Like that sense of really being welcomed. And, on the ground, I've been doing this for a long time. Life day to day hasn't changed for the most part, right? Like people are still really welcoming. All of our international students who have came 15 years ago or came like 2 years ago, we're having on the ground the same kind of experience. We just, unfortunately had an interesting administration for the past 4 years. That said, I mean, we're hearing very encouraging news related to, visas and work visas and things. I think the current administration is very much pro-diversity, very much pro-international students and the benefits that internationalizing our campuses, our cities, our country has had for the United States and will have. So I think we're really encouraged by it. Out of the Africa region, there's been that I've seen few issues. I think one thing that we really work with our students is making sure that you're prepared for the visa. There are really three main things. When you go for the visa, they want to know, are you a valid student? Do you know why you're going to St. Louis University? Why that program? Can you show that you have ties to your home country? Do you have the financing available? Once you get past those hurdles, you're usually in. And we work with our students, Global Ed will work with you to make sure that you're prepared for that. I think we have new international students arrive on campus a couple weeks ago. The main hurdle now is A, if you have visas available, and then B, the current COVID testing. Like I'm actually leaving the country tomorrow. I have to get a COVID test to come back. So I think that's just the current situation. But overall, I think we're in a much positive direction. So I think the thing that you should be as a student worrying about right now is picking the school, picking the program, and let the other things kind of get sorted out. I think making sure you're picking the right university is paramount to being stressed about visas. I think that stuff kind of gets sorted out.
Yeah, it's about being proactive. We have to be proactive in this day and age and support yourself, but have that forward thinking mentality as well. And if you've got that insight, I think SLU's, from what I've seen in this presentation, is something that I would love to myself look into, if I was going to go back to school.
Well, you can start your application today. We'll gladly have you come over. And actually, speaking of, I meant to put this up. We have a really great virtual tour at uvisit.com/SLU. So if you really kind of want to see what our campus looks like, not just like still images, this is a kind of a nice way to really see the beauty of our campus. I think that always kind of helps students, while you're not able to physically come here right now, see the campus, the place that you can come and study. I think that kind of illuminates it a little bit more.
Oh, great. Yeah. I'm gonna steal this link and share it on the newsletter that'll come out to everybody who signed up for this webinar. So I'll put that link in for everybody so they can just click on it as well. I've gone through that. Hannah sent that to me the other day, and it was brilliant. I was so impressed with that virtual tour. Really sort of showed a little bit more into the campus itself. Your Spain campus, Ryan, I know we briefly touched on it in the presentation. Can you just explain a little bit more about what that looks like and the setup there?
Yeah, so the SLU Madrid campus was actually the very first American university to open a campus in Europe. So 1967, so long history being there. It's mostly an undergraduate experience. We have about 1,000 students. So it's not just a study abroad site, but it's a full university, American university campus experience. Everything's taught in English. We have all the same repetitive services, housing support, student support, cafeteria, library, bookstore. The things that American universities are famous for and known for, we have at our Madrid campus. Now, the scale is much smaller because it's a smaller operation. What we offer there are, of the 90-degree programs that the institution offers at the bachelor level, we offer 15 that are fully available there. That means the student can start and finish in Madrid, get a US degree, and never come to the US. Or a student can start in Madrid, any of our other programs, and finish in St. Louis. The benefit of that is they can have a European experience and then finish in the US and do OPT. The Madrid campus is really great for students who love the idea of Europe, but really like the flexibility of US education. The other great benefit is the tuition is 50% of our tuition here in the US. So it's about 21,000 euro, which ends up being about 24,000 US dollars. And again, we have great scholarship opportunities there as well. Flexible entry requirements. We do have something similar to a pathway there. It's called a bridge program. And we have the Catholic and Jesuit scholarships as well. So if Europe is on your list, definitely take a look at Spain. It's, I lived there for a year. I loved it. It's, you don't have jet lag when you get there coming from South Africa, which is nice, or Zimbabwe.
In terms of the fee structure at Spain, you mentioned the figure of being 50% cheaper, and that a lot of South Africans or Southern Africans have European passports as well, especially with the dual country sort of status set up. Do you pay EU fees? Is there a separation, or is that fee standard between EU and non-EU students?
Correct, it's standard. So we're a private institution, so our fee structure is the same. And this is in the US and in Spain, whether you're a local, a resident, a citizen, or an international student, it's the same for everyone.
Great. Any students with any more questions before I thank Ryan for his time? And I know I found that interesting, and I hope you all did as well. Give a couple seconds, yeah. Ryan, what's one thing you really like about the place? In terms of outside of the student life, what's one thing you recommend somebody to definitely do when they come to SLU?
I would say go to a basketball game. Honestly, like our basketball games are so fun. Our stadium, I think it's like, I don't know, 15,000 students. It feels like being on a college campus because, it's like rooting for team, or even the soccer games. I think that, and also exploring all the random art that we have on our campus. I mean, you walk around our campus and it's like there's fountains everywhere. Our art collection is massive, and we've got great outdoor art. So I think the sports, the arts, it's really fun. Lots of really cool stuff to do. And the people, I mean, you'll find that a lot of our American students have zero hesitation going up to some random student or an international student saying, "Where are you from?" "You're from South Africa? Oh my God, tell me everything about it. I've only seen it in photos." Like, some of our international students kind of actually get scared of the Americans. They're like, "Who's this random person talking to me?" It's like they truly are interested. They want to know, about other cultures and places. So I think don't be afraid of them. They're just being very nice, probably too nice. Yeah, so probably that.
I've got a bone to pick with your basketball team, though. It was my first basketball game in Cincinnati. I was at the University of Cincinnati. That's where I was studying for my first year of college before moving to Australia. And the first basketball game, I was like so excited to see this team. I was in love with the Bearcats team, and they got thumped. And we were a winning team that year, and we got absolutely thumped by SLU, both Division I teams at the time. So yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, we definitely have a good team. And thank you everybody for joining again. If you have questions, definitely connect with our global ed team.
Yeah.
I
just got a question for you.
Oh yeah.
Not related, but I think it's all the news in Texas without the power. Kaylee's asking, have you had any power outs in St. Louis with the storms? And
no, where we're located, our city, we have 4 seasons, so we're very having a cold winter is not unusual here. I will say our winter generally is very short. Like December and January generally are pretty nice. They can have cold days. We had 2 weeks that were extremely cold, like when that happened, but our location's used to it. I think the whole Texas issue is an anomaly just because it's farther south and they typically don't get that kind of weather. And I think they just have some other issues. We don't have power outages. I've got lights, I've got energy. My food is still in the refrigerator, staying cold. So
the Midwest is a special place, and especially St. Louis. You've got that European vibe to it. You've got sort of the American culture and that heartiness to it. People are welcoming. We've got cousins that live in St. Louis, and they're constantly hounding us to come and visit and come and see us. It's just a special place. So everybody, Ryan's details are on the page. Please take them down. Reach out to me at george@global-education.co.za. You will receive an email from us with all this information. So please get in touch and get the right facts. That's the best thing I can say, is get up-to-date information, and we're here to help.
Yep, George and everybody, thank you guys so much. Hopefully we'll see your application soon, and can help, from my end, making SLU a good option for you. So appreciate your time on a Friday evening, and thank you again so much.
Thanks, Ryan. Keep safe and safe travels tomorrow.
All right, take care, George. Thank you.
Cheers.